Prince Harry is confronting a potential multi-million-pound legal bill after a key witness in his privacy case against Associated Newspapers Limited (ANL) recanted testimony, leaving the Sussexes exposed to what one observer described as the publisher going for the jugular. The claim, which centers on allegations of unlawful information gathering, has spiraled into a financial reckoning that could reshape the couple's commercial future just as their Hollywood ambitions pivot towards safer, scripted fare. To recall, the Duke of Sussex launched the lawsuit alleging that ANL, publisher of the Daily Mail, engaged in privacy breaches through the use of private investigators. The case reached a critical juncture when Gavin Burrows, a private investigator, withdrew earlier statements on the stand, a development that has left the claimant's potential costs ballooning into eye-watering territory. Bront Coy, senior royal correspondent for News.com, said the numbers now in play are very big and that the other side is not showing mercy. There is even doubt about whether insurance will soften the blow, with a shortfall in the tens of millions potentially in play. I believe we're going to have an answer on this next week, Coy said, adding that the Sussexes' finances remain something of a black box. Much like the royal family, their exact income is not public knowledge. Even the headline Netflix and Spotify deals were estimates rather than confirmed figures. Coy's sources insist there is no panic in Montecito. I am constantly told that they're fine, that they've got money in the coffers, she said, pointing to Harry's willingness to take on multiple legal cases as a sign he is not financially strained. Still, she conceded, of course, it's a massive hit. The financial pressure arrives as the couple's production slate undergoes a quiet but significant overhaul. Their biggest commercial successes, the explosive Netflix docuseries and Harry's memoir Spare, all hinged on the royal family as subject matter. Since then, the shine has come off the brand, according to Coy, who noted that star-studded birthday tributes that once flooded in have dwindled. Either they're not publicizing it any more possible or people aren't sending those messages anymore. One of those two things is true, she said. What happens next appears to be a strategic retreat from the niche, cause-driven documentaries that have struggled to find mass audiences. Coy revealed that all but one of the couple's shows in development are now scripted series, marking a pivot away from worthy causes toward adaptations of best-selling rom-coms with built-in readerships. It is a pragmatic move in a market that has rewarded formulaic romance over royal introspection, but do not call it a joint venture. Coy, who covered the couple's recent Australia tour in person, says the Hollywood machine is really Meghan's world. She's doing more of the US-based Hollywood side of it, she said. But I haven't gotten the impression that his heart is greatly in any of that. Harry, by contrast, seems most at ease when doing philanthropic work for Invictus and Welcheld, the very arena where the couple's polarizing brand now complicates fundraising, particularly in Britain. The dynamic is painful. The thing Harry loves most may be the thing his brand is now hurting. With enormous sums still to be raised for the next Invictus Games amid mounting taxpayer scrutiny, Coy sees a difficult path ahead. He and Meghan as a brand have become very divisive and very polarizing, she said. And that's their issue with fundraising for these sorts of things, particularly in Britain. Nothing is confirmed yet, so everything should be taken with a grain of salt. It cannot be independently verified, so take everything lightly. What happens when the witness who helped you win walks back into court and says they got it wrong? For Prince Harry, that question is no longer hypothetical. It is an unfolding legal catastrophe that sources close to the situation describe as potentially the most damaging financial and reputational blow the Duke of Sussex has faced since leaving Britain behind. And if the newspaper group at the center of this saga has anything to say about it, they are not done yet. Not by a long shot. To understand just how perilous Harry's position has become, we need to go back to where this all started. For years, Prince Harry has been waging a very public, very expensive legal war against the British press. It is a battle he has framed as deeply personal, rooted in his belief that tabloid journalists illegally hacked phones, bribed police officers, and deployed private investigators to dig up dirt on members of the royal family. He has spoken about it in interviews in his memoir Spare and in courtrooms. This was not just litigation for Harry. It was, by his own account, a crusade. In 2023, he achieved something historic. Harry became the first senior royal in over a century to give evidence in a civil court, and he secured a settlement from Mirror Group newspapers that included both financial compensation and a public apology. It felt at the time like vindication. Palace watchers noted quietly that it was a remarkable moment, one that seemed to prove Harry's long-standing claims had merit. His supporters celebrated. His critics grudgingly acknowledged a partial victory. And Harry himself made clear he had no intention of stopping there. Associated Newspapers Limited, the publisher behind the Daily Mail, the Mail on Sunday, and the Mail Online, remained in his crosshairs. ANL, as they are known in legal circles, had been fighting Harry's claims vigorously, and they showed no signs of rolling over. Reports suggest that within ANL's legal team, there was a settled determination that if Harry wanted a fight, they would give him one. But even the most seasoned royal correspondents were not fully prepared for what came next. The conflict between Harry and ANL had been building to a courtroom reckoning for months, and the atmosphere around that case was charged from the beginning. ANL's legal team had made no secret of their intention to contest every claim robustly. Sources familiar with the proceedings described their approach as methodical, aggressive, and entirely without sentiment. This was not a defendant looking for an exit. This was a publisher preparing to go, in the words of one legal observer, for the jugular. Harry's legal team, by contrast, were operating in the knowledge that their client had already tasted victory against MGN, which gave them a degree of public credibility. But credibility in the court of public opinion and credibility inside an actual courtroom can be very different things. The case against ANL rested on specific allegations about specific journalists and specific stories. Each claim required evidence. Each piece of evidence required a witness or documentation to back it up. That is where things began to get complicated. Palace insiders who have followed this case closely describe the pre-trial period as one of growing unease within Harry's legal camp. The case was ambitious, spanning years of alleged unlawful activity, and building a case of that scope requires a foundation that holds. When that foundation starts to crack, the consequences are severe. What makes the situation especially painful for Harry is the nature of the crack that has reportedly appeared. According to multiple reports, a key witness in the case has recanted. Recanted. That word carries enormous legal weight. It means that testimony or statements that Harry's legal team had relied upon, evidence that had formed part of the scaffolding of his case against ANL, has now been withdrawn or contradicted by the very person who provided it. The details of precisely what was recanted and why remains subject to legal proceedings, but the implications are staggering. In civil litigation of this complexity, witness credibility is everything. When a witness changes their account, it does not just remove one piece of evidence. It invites scrutiny of every other piece of evidence, every other witness, and every other claim in the case. Defense teams seize on inconsistencies like this. And ANL's legal team, by all accounts, has seized on it with considerable force. Reports suggest that as a result of this development, Harry is now potentially facing legal costs that could run into the millions of pounds. In British civil litigation, costs can be awarded against a losing party, and those costs in a case of this magnitude, with legal teams of this caliber operating over years of preparation and courtroom time, are eye-watering. Sources indicate that the financial exposure Harry now faces is not abstract. It is real, it is quantifiable, and it represents a very different ending to his legal crusade than the one he envisioned. The immediate reaction from Harry's side has been, understandably, muted in public. His representatives have not made extensive public comment, and those close to the Duke in California are said to be acutely aware of how this looks. Here is a man who left Britain in part because of what he described as the toxic relationship between the tabloid press and the royal family. He wrote a book about it, he gave speeches about it, he told opera about it. And now, the very newspaper group he identified as one of the primary villains in that story may be on course to extract a significant financial penalty from him. ANL, for their part, have made no effort to appear conciliatory. Reports suggest that rather than offering any route to a quiet resolution, they have pressed their advantage at every stage. The phrase being used in legal circles is pointed. They are going for the jugular. That does not mean merely winning the case. It means winning in a way that sends a message, that challenges Harry's narrative at its foundations, and that potentially leaves him not just defeated but discredited. For the royal family watching from the other side of the Atlantic, this situation presents a peculiar kind of discomfort. On one hand, many within the institution, palace insiders confirm, have little sympathy for the legal battles Harry chose to pursue so publicly.